The story begins when Akira wakes up and notices that his injuries are gone and he is not wearing any clothes. He is confused about where he is. He walks towards the sunlight and finds the city in ruins. Outside, a hooded woman whispers his full name. Akira wonders if he's dreaming, but a stone hits his head, making him realize he's awake, but he still doesn't remember anything. Just then, a man and a girl enter the room. They call him the Chosen One and explain that an earthquake destroyed the city. The girl makes fun of him, but the man stops her and apologizes. Akira says it is fine, but suddenly passes out. Then we see them taking him in a cart. When Akira wakes up, they ask how he's feeling now. He stares at them and says he's fine, and also clarifies that his name is Akira Himegami, not the Chosen One. The man introduces himself as Weir, the village's chief, and his daughter as Idi. Weir explains that their village has worshipped him as the Chosen One for generations and has been assigned to guard the ruins. He reveals that Akira had been in a deep sleep for many years. Akira looks around and asks about the war. Suddenly he gets flashbacks and says Tawasa, but immediately suffers a headache. Weir says they're about to enter his village, Hakadate. Hearing this, he realizes something and looks at a tower, recognizing it as Goryokaku Tower, which he once visited with his family. Seeing the ruined city, he holds his head. Idi tells him to rest, so he lies down and falls asleep. Weir takes him home and his wife is amazed to see the Chosen One sleeping. When Akira wakes up, Weir tells him to rest, but he says he feels better and asks where he is. She says that their home isn't much, but they'll do their best to make him feel comfortable. While having dinner, he shares stories from his past with Weir's family. He asks how long he had been sleeping. Weir says they can't tell because they're considered unworthy to know about the past. Weir's brother thinks they should report to the owl about him. Akira asks what it is. They explain it is an organization that controls the world. Akira asks if countries exist, so Weir says that Owl has dissolved all the countries and brought peace to the war-prone world. Akira finds it amazing and wonders how powerful Owl is. Then Idi asks his age. He says he is 18, but since he slept for years, he's not sure exactly. Weir's brother insists on reporting him. However, Weir thinks they should hold it for a few days, but the elders warn him that the whole village can get into trouble because he wants to hear ancient stories. Weir's wife calls them cowards, saying Akira just woke up and should be allowed to get used to the world, and once he feels better, they'll report. She holds her crying baby and tells Akira to feel at home. He's grateful for the gesture. At night, while Idi sleeps comfortably, Akira cannot sleep. He keeps thinking about everything. Then he steps onto the balcony and looks at the starry sky and the village, realizing things have changed, yet still feels it's all a dream on top of a ruin. The hooded woman watches over him. The next day, Akira washes his face and says he needs to find clues about Tawasa. Idi greets him and he responds and then asks for a favor. Next, she takes him to the market. He looks around and everything reminds him of an 18th century village. He notices people using coins and wonders if Owl handles the currency system now, and realizes how much he still has to learn. He asks her if there's a library, but she looks confused, so he explains it as a place with many books. Meanwhile, the hooded woman buys a lucky charm from a stall while Idi takes Akira to her school, where he reads books but finds nothing useful. So he asks her if he can meet the owl. She reacts angrily, saying she hates them because they're arrogant. Then they reach a church where a celebration is taking place. She says she can't wait to have her Sierra, and he asks what that is. She explains that the event is called Elsie, where people who love each other take a vow and become Sierra. She adds that everyone can take the oath regardless of their gender. He is still confused and asks if it's like marriage and needs more information. She says that there are many types of HLC between a man and a woman, 2 men, 2 women, or even between multiple people. She points out that the group has an HLC of 4 women and asks about marriage. He says that marriage is a vow between 2 people, but she feels that Elsie is better, since it allows freedom to have multiple partners. He asks if a person can do it with 100 people and she laughs, saying Owl wouldn't allow that. She adds that she can also form an Elsie with her parents and pulls him away. He thinks Owl has even changed the concept of marriage. Back in the year 2038, he is talking to a girl about Project Elsie. The girl says it's a good technique for resolving conflicts between rival companies and building better relationships. He places a box on her forehead and says it's her birthday gift. She opens it and finds a ring. He asks if she likes it, and she does, telling him to stop calling her Tawani. In the present, he thinks Elsie is unnatural. Idi's mother approaches and asks him for help. She explains that a tractor broke down during the earthquake, wonders if Akira can fix it. He says that he has found the problem and he can fix it. Soon the tractor starts working. He says he always liked fixing broken machines and Iddy calls him a genius. Just then a man walks in with Weir's brother. Weir's wife confronts him, but he says he had no choice and points at Akira. The man approaches Akira and says he looks like the chosen one. He introduces himself as Percusus Canis, an owl commissioner of the district, and tells him to call him Sir Canis. The guards arrest Akira and take him to a holding cart. When he asks the reason for his arrest, Canis tells him that he has no human rights and grabs his head. Weir tries to stop him, but he accuses him of treason for not reporting about an ancient relic and shoots him in the leg. He also orders his men to take Edie into custody for investigation. Her mother protests, but he tells her to stand down. Weir's brother says he was assured his family won't get arrested, but the general says he lied. When Weir says he'll file a report, he presses a taser on his wound, causing him to scream in pain. Next, Akira, Weir and Iddy are in a holding cell attached to a moving train. Edie worries about her father while Akira apologizes, saying it's his fault, but Weir says it is fine, though he's weak. When the train stops, the general orders his soldiers to get rid of everyone from the village who knows about the relic. Akira asks if it's necessary, calling him heartless. The general says he'll use his knowledge to reach the top level. Suddenly, a voice tells Akira to lie down, and the carriage is destroyed. Then the hooded woman appears and fights the general. She kicks him into a warehouse. Akira asks who she is. She replies that he's still clinging to the common era and asks if he can save these people from the crisis. The general says that she'll face the consequences of her actions and orders the soldiers to kill her. As the soldiers take their positions, she asks Akira if he'll fulfill her one wish. He agrees and asks her to save them. When the soldiers fire, she creates a barrier to protect herself, Weir and Iddy, causing the bullets to bounce back and hit the soldiers. Then she activates a lightsaber and attacks the soldiers on the bridge and then cuts the men firing from the pipes. The general tries to run away from the fight, but she stops him and says his organization is full of criminals. He realizes she's an outsider and runs towards the train. Meanwhile, an injured soldier tries to shoot her, but Akira throws a stick and knocks him down. The general starts firing at her with a machine gun, and she manages to dodge the bullets and then activates lightning around her. Then her right arm changes into a big gun and fires at the general, destroying everything in its fire line. They look at the damage. She approaches Akira and says the mission is complete. She introduces herself as Yuger, an android. Akira says his head hurts from thinking about what's going on. When she removes her hood, he calls her Tawasa, and she tells him to marry her. He asks if she's not Tawasa. She repeats that her name is Yuger, and plays the audio of him promising to fulfill her wish. He is shocked and steps back as she moves forward, asking him to marry her, but he shouts at her to stop. Then she takes out the ring he gave Tawasa for her birthday. He asks how she got it, but she refuses to answer, saying it's classified. Iddy approaches them and reminds them of her father, back at Weir's house. His brother apologizes for telling the general, but Akira says he did what he thought was necessary to keep the village safe. Weir's wife asks what he is going to do now, and he says he cannot stay here, as Owl will continue coming after him. He bids them farewell and walks away with Yuger. He tells her that she can leave now, but she says she's not leaving until he marries her. He replies that no one would marry someone they just met, so she suggests they should get to know each other by traveling together and reminds him of his promise. Then he asks if she can tell him about this era, but she says it's classified and walks away. He asks why she wants to marry him, and she says she'll only share that information with her husband. They go to the building where he woke up, hoping to find clues about why people are after him. Suddenly, she grabs him and hides behind a machine, and activates her camouflage. She reveals she senses someone coming, and a woman appears and uses her sword to destroy the sleeping pod. After that, another woman with a circular ring steps in and scans the area. Akira wonders why those girls have the same face as Yuger and Tawasa. Just then the girl with the sword destroys a rock, revealing the Iddy hiding behind it. He wants to help her, but Yuger shushes him. The girl named Yoyami tells Iddy to come out and asks if she knows anything about the killer of General Canis. Iddy refuses, saying she'll not reveal her savior. Disappointed, she puts her sword back and walks away, saying they're done here. They jump out of the opening and disappear into the air. After they leave, Akira approaches Adi and asks why she's here. She shows him a wristwatch, saying she found it in the ruins. When he activates it, he hears a voice message from Tawasa, in which she admits that she has to live with all the mistakes she made. She says she cannot share her pain with anyone, expresses her love for Akira, and tells him not to look for her. When the message ends, Yuger says it was recorded 200 years ago, but he says he'll look for Tawasa. Yuger asks where to start, and he says he'll go to their home in Tokyo, asking if she will come with him. She says she'll stay with him in sickness and in health, but he clarifies he's not marrying her. She grabs his finger and says they can marry in Tokyo, and while he screams in pain, she welcomes him to the end of the world. Later, while Ity sleeps, he asks about the two girls from earlier, and Yuger reveals they're Owl Special Division Captains Yoyami and Hakubo. He asks if they're also androids since they have the same face, but she says it's classified and tells him to ask anything else. He again asks why she wants to marry him. She moves closer and says she just wants to marry him. He gets nervous and says he's already engaged to Tawasa, but she says she still has a chance to impress him and pushes him down, saying she'll make him fall in love with her, and that she has all the necessary functions. Then he tells her to get away, but she tries to kiss him. He shouts her name and she stops. The next morning, they say goodbye to Ity and reach the port, where a man says no ships are available for a week. Suddenly, a merchant named Oboro arrives, who owns a boat and agrees to take them to Honshu. Oboro asks why they're going there. Akira says they're heading to Tokyo, while Yuger adds they're on their honeymoon, but he tells her to stop lying. Then they discuss different ways to reach Tokyo. After reaching their destination, they thank Oboro for helping them. He says he likes helping people and drives away. As they enter the city, Akira bumps into a girl and accidentally steps on her brush. He offers to pay for a new one, while Yuger picks up her books. The girl thanks him and introduces herself as Amoru. When Yuger asks about a book, she quickly grabs it, saying it's special to her. Then they buy a new brush using the money Weir gave them for emergencies. When the shopkeeper gives extra change, Yuger notices it. Suddenly his boss arrives and pushes him against the wall. Akira wants to say something, but Yuger stops him and returns the extra money, and they leave the store. Outside, Yuger explains that Latogians are people who surrendered their human rights in exchange for clearing their criminal records and debts. She adds that Owl guarantees their basic needs so they don't die. He doesn't like it. Yuger says she likes his kind nature and reminds him to stay out of trouble. He says she's right and then gives Amoru the new brush, and she promises to keep it safe. She asks why they're here. He says they're going to Tokyo. She says it's far, and Yuger adds that they are heading to Osor right now, but they don't know the way. She says the main roads are full of Owl agents, but she knows a shortcut and guides them through a road through the forest. While walking, Amoru sketches Yuger. Akira looks at it and says she looks like Tawasa. He asks Amoru if she wants to be a painter, but she says she wants to be a comic artist, so he encourages her to follow her dreams. But she gets nervous and walks away. Yuger notices a tattoo on her back. That night, they set up camp in the forest. Akira thanks Yuger for hunting a rabbit and asks if androids also need to eat. She says eating is a hobby and shows him an energy core that gives her energy. When he tries to touch it, she warns him, so he backs off. Then she asks Amoru if she can see her book, but Amoru grabs her bag. She promises she'll not take it. So she takes it out and says her parents drew this. She takes the book, and they compliment her parents' drawing of a girl in a bird dress, and he encourages her to follow her dreams, which makes her smile. The next day, they reach Mount Osor, where Owl guards the entrance. Yuger tells them to walk with confidence, and they pass through easily. She mentions she has lived like this for over 150 years. Amoru asks her age, and she says asking a girl's age is rude. Then they visit a food stall where Yuger eats chicken balls. He says the food looks good, but he is still thinking about how badly Latogians are treated. Yuger tells him not to get involved. He says he feels bad, but she says that things change over time. When he approaches for the food, he finds the plate empty and gets angry at her for eating it all. And when he goes to order more, two soldiers confront him and tell Yuger to put her hands behind her back. Just then, a man named Marlem arrives. Akira feels he seems familiar, and Marlem reveals that his cousin Canis told him about an ancient relic and comments on Yuger's resemblance to Yoyami. Suddenly, Amoru runs to him, and he pats her head. Akira asks what's going on, so he explains that Amoru is a Latogian. She admits she lied to them so that Marlem would return her parents' books, but he says he already burned them all. She gets angry that he lied to her and grabs his shirt, but she throws her away and tells the guards to handle her the same way they handled her parents. Then he orders them to capture Yuger and laughs, saying he will definitely get a promotion now. Akira asks Yuger to do something, but she says she can only save him. Just then, Amoru attacks Marlem and tells them to run, so Yuger attacks the guards and escapes with Akira. Enraged, Marlem kicks Amoru and notices her book. When Akira and Yuger reach safety, he says they have to save Amoru, but she stops him, saying she deceived them and he'll get arrested if he goes back. He asks if she will do nothing. She says it is important for her to follow principles, so he says that for him, saving Amoru is important. He says he feels sorry for her and wants her to follow her dreams. Meanwhile, Marlon picks the last book, saying it is forbidden and burns it, completely breaking Amoru. Then, Yuger asks if he will marry her if she saves Amoru, and he calls her a heartless android and runs back to save Amoru. Next, Amoru is chained in a room alone, crying for her parents in an owl facility. Suddenly, Akira enters the room and says he has come to save her. Meanwhile, Yuger watches the facility from a hill. As Akira and Amoru try to escape, she asks why he's saving her after she deceived him. But he doesn't care about it. Just then, a guard spots them, so they start running. He throws a taser at the guard blocking the door and opens it. They manage to escape towards the light but find Marlon and his men waiting for them outside. The guards grab Amoru and knock Akira down with a taser, but he fights back and tells Marlon to free her. The guards separate them and begin beating him while Amoru begs them to let him go. However, he tells her not to give up, saying they'll get out of here, and that she will become a comic artist. Marlon makes fun of him and orders his men to point a gun at her. Yuger can't watch anymore and jumps in to save them. She knocks the guards holding Amoru and frees her. Marlon is happy to see her and orders his men to capture her, but she slices their guns with her lightsaber and scares them away. Marlon is furious to see them running away and starts firing at her, but she creates a barrier and then charges forward, kicking him into a toilet seat in a nearby building. After the fight, Amoru realizes the power of an android while Akira asks what about her principles. She replies that protecting Amoru still aligns with her objectives and calls it a logical choice. Then he thanks her for saving them. In the morning, Yuger gives Amoru a bag of items she took from the facility. While helping her change, Yuger heals her wounds. When Akira asks about this technology, she says it's classified. But seeing Amoru confused, she whispers she's just playing with him and explains she used her skin cells for healing. Amoru then asks if she can remove her barcode. Yuger says she can, but it will hurt. But she says she can't live like this anymore. Yuger agrees, tells her to close her eyes and replaces it with a bird tattoo, saying it suits her. She calls it beautiful and says she wants to find her parents' picture book, draw many things and express her desire to do Elsie with them. Akira freaks out, but she insists on staying with them and helping others. He tells her to wear clothes first, and after she changes, he tells her that she is free to go anywhere and hopes she finds the book. But she asks Yuger's opinion, who says she can accompany them. So Akira finally says let's go. They arrive at Aomori and hear an announcement for an inn. Akira says he can finally take a bath. Suddenly, Yuger notices two armed guards, and Amoru explains it's Fika season, a festival to find partners for Elsie. He says it sounds creepy. Yuger suggests they should stay low, but Amoru says it doesn't matter since they're already doing an EHLC while Yuger insists on marrying him. But he rejects both of them, saying love should come first before making a lifelong vow, and reminds them he's already engaged to Tawasa. Then Amoru suggests they should find her and then do EHLC. Yuger says she will prove that they're meant to be together and cannot fall in love with anyone else. So they both decide to join the festival without him. Elsewhere, Calcrum from the Lantano family meets with Lieutenant Colonel Yamabuki for a weapons trade. Seeing the large shipments, Yamabuki wonders if he wants to start a war, but he says he is simply preparing for the worst. During the discussion, armed men enter the warehouse confused. Yamabuki asks what's going on and a man says they're Fides' gang. A woman steps forward and introduces herself as Fides, the eldest daughter and future head of the Lantano family. She explains she got the information about a spy among her brother's men, and her team arrests the guy. However, he tries to escape and threatens her, but Calcrum shoots him with one of the guns. Yamabuki asks who the real boss is, but instead of answering, Calcrum accuses the administrator of corruption while Fides walks away, telling her men to handle the situation. A man explains that Fides and Calcrum are two of the 10 children of the current Lantano boss, but it's unclear who should inherit the family throne. Later, during dinner, the boss tells the siblings that they must prove themselves worthy of the throne. Calcrum asks how, and the boss says they need to find a partner. Fides states she will find one at the festival. Calcrum says no man would find her attractive, but she is confident and walks away. Meanwhile, Amoru scolds Akira for refusing to attend the festival. He wishes them good luck, so she and Yuger go without him. When he steps outside, he overhears two men talking about Fides and Calcrum. He looks curious about them, so a woman explains they're part of the Lantano Mafia family. At the festival, people gather to find their perfect match. Amoru meets a group who call Akira foolish for rejecting her. but she gets angry at them and defends him. Yuger, meanwhile, shows no interest in talking to anyone. Akira eventually arrives, secretly to keep an eye on them. He notices girls gathering around Calcrum, while men line up to meet Fides. Fides rejects every man, leaving her group worried about her future. And Calcrum mocks her, telling her to forget about the throne, saying Elsie is about finding love, not to find someone according to her high standards. This angers her group, but she tells them to calm down and walks away. On the other side, Akira hides behind a tree, watching Yuger getting drunk. Amoru finds him and asks if he was worried. He denies it, but when he looks again, Yuger is gone. At night, Feed stands alone on a balcony drinking, when Akira accidentally bumps into her and spills her drink. Seeing her name slip, he tries to get away, but she grabs him and asks him to accompany her. She asks who he is and that he looks intelligent. Amoru interrupts and reveals he is really smart, and from the ancient era. Fides finds it fascinating how he is still alive, and he says he was sleeping for 200 years. So she proposes an Elsie with him in exchange for giving him protection from Owl. She adds that it will benefit both of them. He hesitates, saying he doesn't know her, but she replies that they will have time to learn about each other. Suddenly, they overhear that Calcrum has found a partner. Fides looks sad. Akira asks if she loves Calcrum, but she denies it, explaining that he is his brother, which freaks him out. Then we see Calcrum proposing Elsie to a drunk Yuger. Later, back at the inn, Amoru asks Yuger about marriage. Yuger says it is a sexual union between a man and a woman where they bond forever. Amoru says it sounds boring and difficult to love only one person, but she says she's loyal to Akira, although he is still in love with Tawasa. The next day, Calcrum's boss summons him and asks about his plans for the girl he met at the festival. Meanwhile, Fides is brushing her horse. She talks to it about the rumors of Calcrum's partner. Suddenly, her henchman arrives, but she tells him she already has a plan. Back in the city, Yuger tells Akira and Amoru that she's going on a date with Calcrum. They are against the idea of her dating a criminal. Just then, Calcrum arrives with a bouquet and greets her. She recognizes that those flowers are a symbol of true love, which earns her a compliment and reveals he knows she's an android. Shocked, Akira asks about his intentions. Calcrum asks if he's feeling jealous, but Yuger introduces him as her fiancé, making Akira notice similarities between the siblings. Just then, Fides calls out to Akira and says she came to pick him up for their date. Hearing this, Yuger and Amoru demand an explanation. He awkwardly says there was a small incident and thought it was a joke. Calcrum says it is good that she also found a partner. They are amazed to see Calcrum's car, which he imported from Tokyo. Akira asks if he can tell him anything about Tokyo, but he refuses to share information for free, which annoys him. Then they all get into the car, where Calcrum declares their double date has begun. As they reach the market, Amoru runs ahead, and Akira tells her not to go too far. Meanwhile, multiple gang members secretly follow them. Yuger looks at jewelry and Calcrum offers to buy her an expensive gemstone. Akira watches them until Fides distracts him by handing some boxes she bought before walking away. He wonders if this is really a date, while Amoru still thinks he should have refused Fides. But he notices Fides has feelings for Calcrum and wonders if they could form an Elsie. Amoru angrily stuffs a fruit stick into his mouth. Calcrum notices Yuger is distracted and tells her to focus on him. She then points him to a quiet alley so they can talk. It is revealed that their date is part of a plan to make Akira jealous. However, she's confused why he suggested a double date. He says he didn't expect Fides to propose to Akira and wanted to keep an eye on her. Back at the festival, Calcrum meets a drunk Yuger, who says she is hurt because no one cares about her emotions as an android. He is surprised and asks what she's doing there. She says she needs to prove her love for Akira, so he agrees to help. In the present, she asks what he gains from this. He says he is curious to see if a relationship between a human and an android is possible. On the other side, Akira buys watercolors for Amoru. Feed Eyes asks what he bought for her. Then he buys her a flower, which makes Yuger jealous, though he doesn't understand why, and he suggests going to the library. Inside, Yuger looks around and Calcrum says it's a good place for a date. Amoru wonders if her parents' book is there. Akira says he'll help, though he is actually researching on his own. He picks up a law book, but Feed says it's useless since Owl controls everything. After some time, they leave and Amoru runs ahead again. Akira calls out to her, but she doesn't stop. They search the alley, and Feeds gets upset that she has to follow them. Realizing she is also lost, she gets nostalgic that she used to play hide and seek here, but she always gets caught because Calcrum would cry when scared, and she promised to protect her when she became the boss. Calcrum finds her and asks what she's doing. She says nothing and walks away, but he reminds her of their childhood. While searching for Amoru and Fides, Akira finds them talking. Yuger arrives with Amoru, but he shushes them to let the siblings have a moment. Fides asks why he brought up the past. He says she was always good at hiding and wraps a cloth around her. They stare at each other for a while, but she walks away, saying she doesn't remember. After noticing them, Akira doubts whether they are really siblings. Suddenly, he notices a necklace on Yuger and asks her to take it off. She asks if he's jealous since Calcrum gave it to her. He denies it and tries to change the topic but gives up, saying she wouldn't understand love. But she gets angry about how he can think like that and asks if he has feelings for Fides. He denies it, saying he's engaged to Tawasa, and he then asks if she wants to do Elsie with Calcrum. She hesitates and says maybe, shocking them. On their way back, they sit in silence in the car. Suddenly, the car gets a flat tire. While Akira fixes it, Calcrum asks where he learned that. He replies his foster parents taught him. Calcrum says he was only taught to do anything for the family, which is why Elsie matters to him. Akira asks if he's serious about Yuger. Calcrum asks why he's curious and he replies that she's his traveling partner. Then Calcrum asks if he likes Fides. He says his feelings don't matter, but Calcrum says he kills anyone who breaks her heart. He figures out Calcrum likes her, but says he won't fall for her. Meanwhile, the girls reach the port. Yuger says love is complicated. Fides asks what happened, and Amoru explains that Yuger has been unfortunate in finding true love. Fides admits she doesn't understand it. Suddenly, a crane accidentally drops a container, which is about to crush a worker, but Yuger reacts quickly and saves him. A man recognizes her and leaves. Amoru calls her amazing while Fides realizes she's an android and wonders what Calcrum is planning to do. Akira and Calcrum rush to the scene and ask what happened. Fides points toward the crowd and runs away. The boys discuss who should follow her. While running, Fides recalls how Calcrum once saw her crying and promised to become the boss and change the family so she wouldn't have to cry. Akira catches up and checks on her. She calls him kind. She says Calcrum would make a better boss because he's smarter and wiser. She reveals he looked after their other siblings in secret. However, she must become the boss because he is too soft for the role. At the Lantano villa, a man informs the boss that Calcrum's partner is an android. The boss tells him they need to resolve the matter before Owl finds out. Later, the double date continues at the Lantano family restaurant. Calcrum asks Yuger to do a Elsie with him. Fides stands up to leave but stops when Yuger refuses and returns the necklace, saying she loves someone else. Then Akira asks both siblings why they won't confess their feelings. Suddenly, the Lantano boss walks in and tells them to hand over Yuger. He reveals he always knew they loved each other since they were kids. He accuses them of planning to kill him to take over the leadership. Calcrum denies it, but he says that he has the android and the weapons he bought are evidence. Sensing danger, Akira looks at Yuger, who is still drunk. Calcrum says everything he is doing is for the family's protection. The boss tosses a gun towards Fides and orders her to kill Calcrum in exchange for leadership if she succeeds. Calcrum tells her to do it, or else they both will die, and she gets nervous. Akira tells her not to do it and Calcrum takes the gun from her. The boss calls them traitors, but Calcrum says he only thinks about himself and fires. But a man comes in between. Boss orders his men to kill them all. Just then, Yuger tells him to stop speaking and leave before she kills them. But he orders them to charge while she's drunk, but she releases all the alcohol from her system and reveals she only activated drinking mode for enjoyment. But they have interrupted that. She warns them of the consequences. Suddenly, Akira spots a sniper and rushes to shield her, taking the bullet instead. Calcrum instantly shoots the sniper. Yuger asks Akira why he came in between since she would have defended herself. She tries to heal him, telling him not to do that again because she cannot lose him. She tells Amoru to look after him while she handle the goons, but he tells her not to kill anyone, leaving her amazed that even on the verge of dying, he's thinking about others. Then she orders Calcrum to fall back. He warns her that the boss is a murderer who doesn't fear death. However, she says he must be strong, but she'll defeat him and release laser spheres, but the boss easily dodges all of them. He charges toward her, demanding she kneel before him, but she refuses to bow to the man who hurt her friend. Lantano keeps attacking her, but she dodges every time and suddenly grabs her weapon and breaks it. She then kicks him to the ground and leaves his fate to the siblings before returning to Akira. The siblings discuss how they should punish him. Elsewhere, Tawasa is working on the gadget while her AI assistant tells her to rest after working for 27 hours. She says she'll sleep and asks if a machine can have feelings like a human. The AI replies that she likes her and asks if she's talking about love. She asks for clarification and the AI explains it doesn't have emotions but understands the theory about love. Tawasa hopes that one day it will feel emotions for someone. Meanwhile, Akira wakes up and notices Yuger under the blanket. He asks what she's doing, and she was putting a good luck charm on his foot so he would heal faster, and adds she is wearing the other pair. He notices the scar from the bullet wound. Just then, Amoru enters and is happy to see him awake. She reveals that he's been unconscious for a week. Feeds and Calcrum arrive and Feeds asks how he's feeling. He replies that he feels better. Amoru explains that Yuger took care of him the entire time, so he thanks her, making her blush. Calcrum gives him an apple and apologizes for the trouble caused by his family. Akira asks what they did to the boss and Calcrum says that the boss was forced to retire after being publicly defeated, and that Feeds is the new leader of the Lantano family. Then they gather in the boss's office. Amoru says her parents' book is not there. Calcrum asks where they plan to go next, and Akira says they're heading to Sendai, and Feeds suggests they should stop by a hot spring if they have time. The girls are excited, and Calcrum mentions a nearby hot spring village. Although Akira wants to reach Tokyo quickly, he gives in after seeing the girls' excitement, and they celebrate happily. Calcrum thanks them for helping him and Feeds confess feelings for each other. He asks Yuger if she has found her true love. When she denies it, he tells her that she still has time to find it. Next, Akira and the girls travel in a yellow car with a driver. Akira asks why he's doing this, and the driver says driving around people pays better than his previous jobs. Amoru asks if Akira knows him, and he replies. The driver advises him to have Elsie with these pretty girls. Amoru agrees, but Yuger says they're going to marry instead. The driver laughs, saying it sounds fun. They thank him after reaching the hot spring. Amoru gives him a sketch she made of him, and he is sure she'll become a great artist. After he leaves, Akira wonders how he knew about her dream. The girls are amazed to see the hot spring and say they're going to enjoy their time. Nearby, they notice two women arguing. A man tries to calm them, but they tell him to shut up, assuming it is a lover's quarrel. Yuger tells Akira to intervene. One woman throws a punch at the other, but she steps aside and it hits Akira instead, knocking him unconscious. Inside the inn, the woman apologizes for hitting him. He blames the man for being a womanizer, but the man explains he is just a customer who was only trying to stop the fight. Akira apologizes for the misjudgment, but the man says it's fine and introduces himself as Yokarada. The woman Ajisai reveals she is the inn's owner and sincerely apologizes. Akira says it's fine and asks why they were fighting. She explains that the other woman, Hanayama, is her partner, who promised to leave her busy job as an owl commissioner to spend more time at the inn. But now she refuses and spends most of her time away. Realizing she has shared too much, she apologizes and offers them a free stay. Amoru jokes that he should get injured frequently, making everyone laugh. Ajisai gives them the best room with a beautiful view. She also mentions that the hot springs have a special effect due to their mixing bathing, which embarrasses Akira and Yuger while Amoru gets excited. Then she asks if they have done Elsie, to which Akira says no and that he has no intention of doing it. However, Amoru says they should do it while Yuger says they'll get married, but he refuses all the offers. The girls head to the hot spring. Amoru calls Akira stubborn and asks Yuger why she acts strangely around him. She admits that nowadays her heart races whenever he sees him. Amoru says she read in a book that if you like someone that is meant to happen. She advises Yuger to tell him how she feels, but Yuger says she has but realizes she hasn't. Meanwhile, Akira looks at a map and says he still doesn't know much about this era. Yuger steps in and asks what's on his mind. He says he's still troubled by the lack of information. She says she's not going to reveal anything, but he insists there must be a reason for the missing information, especially what happened with Tawasa. She replies that it is classified. Yokarada overhears and asks if they're talking about Tawasa Omagi. Akira asks if he knows her, and he explains that while working at Owl, he has heard of Professor Omagi, but he clarifies that he's no longer working there and won't report about Yuger. He wonders why Akira doesn't have any information about Tawasa, and asks Yuger if he can tell him the classified details. She replies that she cannot stop him, so he explains that a war between humans and AI began in the year 2052, destroying half of Japan, and the savior who stopped the war was Tawasa. Akira asks why no one knows about it then. He reveals that Owl has restricted access to the original files so that no one would repeat the same mistake. Akira wonders how Tawasa ended the war, and he says she created advanced combat androids known as the Outside Series. Akira realizes that Yuger is one of them. He says that he'll continue this conversation another time, but Akira asks a final question about what happened to Tawasa, and he replies that after the war, she just vanished after she founded Owl. Akira asks if she might still be alive, but he says it has been 200 years, so it is unlikely, which makes him sad. Yuger asks if he's okay, and he says he's fine. That night, he plays table tennis alone to clear his mind. Yokurata's words are logical, but there is a possibility that she is alive because he's still here. He then heads to the hot springs. Thinking he's alone, he starts swimming, but accidentally, he touches Yuger, who gets offended. He apologizes, offering to leave, but she says he can stay as long as he wants to and not look at her. Elsewhere, Amoru sketches the garden while Aejisai and Hanayama arrive and praise her work. Aejisai mocks Hanayama, saying someone finally appreciates the inn. Back at the hot spring, Akira and Yuger stand awkwardly, facing away from each other. They both ask what's wrong, but she looks at the stars and says it's pretty. Meanwhile, Aejisai and Hanayama begin arguing about each other's negative qualities, blaming the other person for not understanding. Unable to handle it, Amoru runs away, saying she can't see couples fighting like this. Yuger asks Akira why he saved her the other day and begins massaging his shoulders, telling him not to take it the wrong way. He asks why, and she says it is her way of thanking him. Just then, Amoru arrives and is sad they are bathing without her and instantly jumps in, saying it's fine now, and they laugh at her. After the bath, he meets Yokurata and Aejisai. She whispers in his ear if he had fun. He denies it, but she knows about the shoulder massage, making him regret coming there. Then she says that this place exists so that people can spend time with their loved ones. Yuger and Amoru join them. When asked about a good drawing spot, Yokurata says the crater has a wonderful view. Hanayama offers to take her there since it's on her way to work, which excites Amoru, and Yokurata offers to tag along. Then Akira asks Yuger if she wants to go somewhere. As a thank you for saving him, she thinks for a moment and tells him out on a date. While the girls sleep, Akira goes to the hot spring alone, but he is surprised to find Yokurata and Hanayama already there. They ask what's wrong since it is a mixed bath and invite him to join them before his date with Yuger, but he refuses. During breakfast, Yuger finishes her food and leaves, and Akira is surprised that she did not ask for a second serving. Earlier, Yuger had woken Amoru and asked for her help. Next, as Amoru is about to head out, Akira asks Yokurata to look after her, and he tells him not to worry. Hanayama joins them and mentions their morning bath, which makes Amoru mad at him, promising they'll talk about it when she returns. As they leave, Aejisai appears behind him and asks if he had fun this morning. He tries to explain the situation, but stops as he notices Yuger dressed beautifully. She asks how she looks. He hesitates to answer, so Aejisai tells him not to mess up on the date. Meanwhile, Amoru starts hiking the mountain with Yokurata and Hanayama. Hanayama reveals it is her favorite place and that it contains valuable ores. Yokurata says mining them is part of Owl's project. Amoru asks if the hot springs will be destroyed, but she says she won't let that happen. He asks if she'll stop the project and she explains that she will do anything to stop it because the inn matters to Aejisai. Amoru asks if she has told Aejisai about the project, but she says she cannot because she loves the hot spring, and if something happens to it, she will never forgive her. Back in the city, Akira and Yuger walk together. She mentions that the weather is nice and he agrees. She asks if he has anything planned for the date and he says he does and hopes she likes it. He offers her some street food since she didn't eat much in the morning and her stomach growls, but she refuses because she doesn't want her face to look puffy. He wonders if androids can gain weight, but she says the feeling matters to her. He tells her not to worry and hands her the stick. Next, she looks at flowers and remembers that he gave some to Fides. Realizing she feels jealous, he asks if she prefers flowers or dango. She is about to say dango, but instead says flowers. He then gives her a flower-shaped ice cream. She says if she eats it, it will disappear, but he says this flower suits her, and she quietly eats it. Meanwhile, at the top of the crater, Amoru sketches the landscape and Hanayama says that it is a popular dating spot, which makes Amoru recall that Yuger needed her advice for the date. Although she was excited to go with them, Yuger wanted to spend the day alone with Akira. She didn't want them to have a date, but she agreed. Now, she admits that she wanted to go. Then Akira and Yuger walk through the forest. Suddenly, she loses her balance and he supports her, holding her hand. He asks if she's okay and she says yes. They notice her slipper strap is torn, so he kneels and tells her to hold on to him while he fixes it. After that, she runs ahead, happily thanking him. He tells her she looks beautiful, making her blush. At the crater, Amoru admits she feels uneasy despite allowing them to go on the date. Yuger advises her to express her feelings. She says she wants to be with both Akira and Yuger because she likes them, but knowing they're on a date hurts her. He tells her she's feeling jealous and encourages her to be honest, though she worries it might make things awkward, and he says love is complicated, and she says she'll tell them. Then he asks Hanayama if she's afraid Ajisai will leave her, and she says Ajisai is a kind person. In the year 2045, an AI says to Tawasa that she's caring for her robot dog, Dabut, like it's her child. She asks the AI whether love can exist between humans and AI. AI says it's impossible because AI lacks a body and emotions, but she believes that if an AI serves its user, it can become special to them. The assistant asks if it is precious to her, and she says she is, but they can't get married and says feelings aren't bound to flesh. It grows and turns into affection. Yuger remembers Tawasa's words. Akira and Yuger enter a cavern that was once a battlefield. He asks if she caused it, but she says Yoyami did. She reveals that Yoyami and Hakubo are her sisters, and that she's one of the outside series androids created during the war. She asks what he thinks of her now. He says he's not sure because he was sleeping for so long that everything looks different. He adds that she has saved his life, so she can't be a weapon. She asks if he's afraid of her, but he's grateful that she's there. She asks if he hit his head for saying something this kind, but he calls her weird for talking about war on a date and quickly corrects that it's just a thank you outing. She smiles and asks him to marry her, but he bursts into laughter, saying he hasn't heard that in ages. Then she holds his hand and suggests taking a photo to remember the day. They pose together, and she says he can kiss her now, but he freaks out and she says it's a joke. She tells him that she loves him, which stuns him. As they return, Ajisai welcomes them and asks how far they went. He says till the crater. Then Amoru and others arrive. Ajisai is still upset with Hanayama, but she stops her and reveals that Owl has found valuable ores in this area, and they plan to turn the whole town into a mining site. Ajisai asks if she is going to destroy the hot springs, but she says she wants to stop the project because she knows that the inn means everything to her. Ajisai asks why she didn't tell her sooner. She says that she doesn't want to make her sad. Then Ajisai kisses her and says they'll face it together. Later, Amoru asks Yuger how the date went. She says it was good. Amoru admits she didn't feel good about their date and hates being left out. But Yuger is glad that she was alone with Akira, and realized what's more important. Amoru doesn't understand it, and Yuger says she's one step closer to getting married. Amoru regrets letting them go alone and decides she'll not hold back anymore. The next morning, Akira's group says goodbye to Ajisai and Hanayama. They mention that Ajisai will likely find a reason to argue, but Yuger says as long as they trust each other, they'll be fine. At the bus stop, they meet Yuger, who says he's also searching for something and wants to travel with them. They take the bus to Sendai. Yuger asks to borrow Akira's watch and he agrees, asking him to report whatever he finds about it. After they arrive, Yuger returns the watch, saying he found nothing. They admire the city of Sendai. Yuger says that it is known as the City of Scholars, where people train before moving to Tokyo. He adds that after Owl headquarters, this city holds many hidden records and information about the world. Akira decides they should search the city, but Yuger says how he plans to hide from the Owl's agents guarding the city. Yuger says that he has his ways. He takes them to the central library, hoping to find something useful. Inside, they find all the history books missing. Akira wonders if they're kept on a different shelf, but Yuger says they would not make such a mistake. Then he greets the librarian, Seshat. She is happy to see him, and says he should have called before. She asks who his friends are. Akira asks about books related to the AI war. She replies that those books are forbidden, but Yuger reveals he knows she is an Owl agent and pulls her closer, asking if she can help them. She tells him to let her go, and explains that she can't help them as books they're looking for are not meant for the public. Suddenly, Yuger asks her out on a date. Akira wonders what he's doing. As they exit the library, he asks Yuger if the librarian is his girlfriend. While Yuger checks on Amoru, Akira wonders if the information they're looking for even exists. He says there might still be a chance in Tokyo. At the railway station, he tells them that the next train to Tokyo isn't till tomorrow and suggests they should visit bookshops or maybe enter the restricted section of the library. He reveals that he already has the key to the restricted section. Akira is surprised that Yuger managed to steal the key from Seshat. He adds that he's even going on a date with her later. When Akira asks why he's helping them, he admits he is also interested in the information they are looking for. Amoru suggests they should use it and he calls her the smart one of the group. Akira agrees, with Yuger supporting them, that they won't get another chance. He suggests they can also search the market for the banned books while he heads home to get ready for his date. Akira decides they should buy their train tickets first. As they walk, Yuger and Akira reassure Amoru that they will find her parents' books. Feeling grateful, she hugs them. Suddenly, Yuger senses something and pushes them to the other side, telling them they need to hide. When Akira asks what's wrong, she says that Yoyami and Hakubo are here. He wonders how they found us, and she says they must have figured out we're headed to Tokyo. She decides to act as bait to draw the twins away without engaging in a fight and apologizes to Amoru that she'll not be able to help search for her parents' books. Then she tells him to book an inn with 2 beds and no funny business. He says he won't cross any lines and she tells them to be careful. She leaves and moments later causes an explosion nearby, attracting the twins' attention. They realize it is Yuger, although Hakubo finds it suspicious. Meanwhile, Akira and Amoru head to the station to buy tickets, which cost more than he expected. He says they need to find a job to manage expenses. However, she tells him to relax for a bit. She spots an amazing city view in an alley and rushes toward it while he follows, telling her to be careful. She shows him 2 food cans, one chicken and the other fish. He says he is seeing them for the first time and decides to buy both. Next, they visit a garment store, where she tries on different dresses. However, he doesn't like any of them, so they move forward to a jewelry stall, where she wants to buy 1 bracelet for each of them. Though he reminds her about their financial situation, they agree when the shopkeeper offers them a discount on multiple pieces. Amoru turns on her bargaining mode and gets the bracelets at a very low price. The shopkeeper tells Akira that she's a keeper and will be a perfect partner. She is happy that they bought multiple bracelets and runs ahead to the next shop. While sitting on a bench, he praises her bargaining skills and she says she is an expert shopper. Suddenly, her stomach growls with hunger. He says it is fine and buys some snacks, but he can't eat because he's worried about Yuger. She reveals that she wanted the 3 of them to do Elsie and that she didn't like that he and Yuger went on a date the other day. She adds that he keeps thinking about Tawasa, and she must be a good person if he likes her. So she's also ready for Elsie between the 4 of them. However, he says he doesn't want that. Instead, he wants a partner whom he truly loves. She says that Yuger said the same thing and asks what it means. She confesses that she likes him. Next, they finally reach the book market and hope they find something useful. Akira meets Oboro again, this time selling books, saying this job pays more than being a driver. Akira approaches him and whispers that he is looking for banned books. Oboro screams in surprise. He tries to shush him, yet every shopkeeper hears him. They surround them and call Owl evil, revealing that agents searched their entire collection one by one and took all the suspicious books away. A man reveals it happened just before Oboro arrived. Amoru wonders if they have any books left. One shopkeeper shows them a book he managed to save from the agents. Then the rest reveal what they saved. They look through all the books but don't find what they are looking for. They guess that all the books might be stored in the library because Seshet was part of the raid, and they're certain she must have kept them in the restricted section as she's such a book nerd. Amoru says the library is their only option, and Akira takes out the key. Elsewhere, in a big house, Yokurata and Seshet enjoy their date. She wants to leave and return to the library, but he says he's lonely and seduces her to stay for the night. Meanwhile, Akira and Amoru book a room, though it only has 1 bed. He tells her he'll sleep on the floor so she can take the bed. She tells him to wake her up when it's time to leave. Akira recalls that one of the shopkeepers handed him the library's floor plan, wishing him luck. While Amoru sleeps, he takes the paper and heads to the library alone. Suddenly, she comes running after him and scolds him for not waking her up. He explains that he can't look for the book and protect her at the same time, but she insists on coming because she wants to find her parents' book. They manage to enter the library, and he follows the floor plan to reach the restricted area without being noticed there. He finds a digital lock and wonders why it still exists, as electronic gadgets are banned all around the world. He realizes it needs a key card, so Amoru looks around and finds it in a drawer. However, the door doesn't open. Instead, it beeps, alerting the guard. Akira tries to open the door but fails. Then Amoru realizes they need to push it in, and they quickly hide inside when the guard enters. Meanwhile, a silent alarm alerts Seshet about the intruders. She thanks Yokurata for the night, saying she must return to the library quickly. Back at the library, they check all the books available, and Amoru spots a door that looks different. As he moves to check it, the guard enters, forcing them to hide behind the shelves. Amoru accidentally drops a few books, and the guard follows the sound. He is about to confront them, but Amoru overcomes her fear and rushes towards the guard. However, he overpowers her and thanks God for sending her, but Akira attacks from behind and knocks him out. Then they enter the room, which looks like a private office with many antiques, and hope to find the books. Amoru says he reminded her of her father, explaining that he was usually quiet, but when any dangerous situation arrived, he used to defend them like a superhero. She remembers a moment when her mother was beaten by the guards and her father held them off, so she could escape. So with teary eyes she picked a book and ran. She then thanks him for saving her, but he tells her to focus on finding the books. He tells her to look for something written by Tawasa. She asks if she's the same as Yuger. He says only their faces match and explains that Tawasa is cheerful and brightens the day just by being around. She is intelligent, moody, and sometimes a little lazy, but there is no one like her. As they search, Seshet enters the library. He notices a cloth covering something and removes it, revealing a glass shelf of books. He finds a book written by Tawasa titled Elsie Operation Plan. He tries to open the shelf. Just then Seshet knocks Amoru out and says they ruined her perfect date. She orders the guard to call for backup and starts attacking with her whip, destroying books. Akira asks why she's doing this to her books. She says all the books are her lovers and she won't let anyone take them away from her. As she continues swinging, Amoru's parents' picture book and Tawasa's book fall on the ground. Akira says if she gives them those books, they'll leave right away. Instead she picks them up, refusing to hand over her lovers, and says no one will understand her pain when a stranger touches her books with dirty hands. He says he knows how it feels to lose something precious, and these two books mean a lot to her. Just then, Amoru threatens to burn all the books with a lantern if she doesn't give them what they want. She argues that fire will also destroy their books, and enraged, she swings her whip, knocking her down, causing the lantern to spill the oil over the books and catch fire. She screams in horror as her books burn into flames. Outside the library, Yokurata seems impressed that Akira went this far to get the book. Between the flames, Akira carries Amoru on his back, but she refuses to leave without the books. He argues against it because the fire is spreading rapidly. However, both books are still untouched by the flames for now, yet they are at opposite ends of the room, and they can save only one. She tells him to take Tawasa's book. Akira and Amoru escape the burning library. She is desperate to go back for Tawasa's book, feeling bad for him, knowing he has spent so much time searching for it, but he says it's okay. Nearby, Seshet breaks down in tears watching all the books burn and wants to go inside. Akira says they must leave before anyone sees them. Amoru suggests returning to the inn, but Yokurata says it's a bad idea and advises them to hide until their train departs. He hands them their luggage and praises Amoru on finding her parents' book. Then they are in an abandoned building and Yokurata brings them coffee from an operational coffee machine. When he gives the glass to Akira, Akira apologizes for troubling him and ruining his bond with Seshet. However, he is confident that he can fix it. He thinks they can learn anything useful from Amoru's parents' book. Although Akira doubts it, asking what they can learn from a children's book, he points out that there must be a reason it is banned for the public. Akira takes the book and compliments the cover art. The book tells a story where a special type of blood grants people special powers. However, some people misuse their gifts to spread havoc and suffering around the world. To restore balance, God created 12 angels to deal with corrupted souls and spread happiness. He realizes it is closely related to Tawasa's Elsie project, which was her plan to upgrade humanity with special chip implants. He wonders if it is a big coincidence or something more. The next morning, Akira and Amoru wear disguises to enter the heavily guarded railway station. Akira gets nervous on the way, but the three of them manage to board the train without any trouble. As they take their seats, Amoru worries about Yuger, but he assures her she is fine and will join them soon. Then she asks if she should be the one to carry the book, but he knows that she will take good care of it and she thanks him for trusting her. However, she is really scared after yesterday's incident. As the train leaves Sendai station, Yuger jumps from a cliff and runs beside it, scanning it for her group. They notice her from the window and Akira moves to open the door, but she is already inside the coach, apologizing for being late, and Amoru rushes to hug her, crying because she missed her. Yuger points out that Akira's disguise is terrible, with Amoru calling her the best critique. After hearing everything, she is happy they got the book. Amoru gives her the bracelet she bought earlier, so now all three share matching ones. Yokurata asks where his bracelet is, but she ignores him and continues talking with Yuger. He notices Akira staring at them. Suddenly, an orange rolls to Amoru's foot, and a tall man appears, apologizing for dropping it, saying he bought too many because it is his wife's favorite. He introduces himself as Ver, his wife Casta, and their 10-year-old twins Roiv and Kallo. He tells them they are shifting to Omiya. He asks where they are going, and Akira says Tokyo, adding that it is his first time on a sleeper train. Ver reveals he is an owl guard, and after the fire incident, he received an order to move to Amiya, so he has to follow it. Amoru observes Kallo drawing and compliments him. He nervously thanks her, and she shows her own sketchbook. He calls her an amazing artist, making her smile. Yuger is happy that Amoru is making friends. Akira asks Ver if he draws, but he declines, saying Kasta is the creative one who owns an art studio. Yokarada says he is impressed and asks for private lessons, but Ver panics and tells him not to flirt with his wife. Kasta replies that it is fine and that she can handle herself. Akira feels something is off, while Yuger says they balance each other out. Ryvuv calls them a perfect match, explaining her mom is calm, while her father is loud and supports her. Akira realized that this pair looks more like a marriage than any EHLC partners. Ver promises to manage his schedule better to spend time with his family. As the train refuels, Amoru walks onto the platform, wondering how to deal with her feelings for Akira. Yokarada joins her and says love makes people feel strange. She replies that Akira made her feel special by choosing her parents' book over Tawasa's. He replies that her feelings matter the most. She adds that she is happy and that Yuger also cares about her parents' book, and she is developing stronger feelings for both of them. She asks him to keep it a secret and he agrees. Then, Akira and Yuger arrive and reveal they're coming back after seeing the engine. Akira is excited to travel on a steam train and wishes he could drive it. Then they return to the compartment, and Yuger calls him a machine nerd. Suddenly, they see Ver apologizing to Kasta, who tells him not to do this now and walks away. Akira wonders if they should leave, but Ver approaches them and asks for help fixing his relationship. They sit in a train restaurant, where he explains that 10 years ago he had an affair with another woman. Akira calls him a cheater, Amoru calls him a criminal, and Yuger says he should be beaten to death. He says that the situation was different. Kasta was pregnant and it made her rude, so he went drinking with his ex. Yuger stops him and says he will go to hell. Akira turns to walk away, saying they cannot help him. However, he grabs him and begs for help, saying he wants to make things right. Just then, Ryov and Kello arrive. Ryvu tells him to apologize to her mother as she cannot stand seeing them fighting. Seeing this, Akira agrees to help him. They sit at the table discussing a plan. Ryvu asks Kello how they can help. Suddenly, Oboro walks in wearing a ticket inspector uniform and tells Ver to be honest. He asks Akira if he is surprised to see him here, but he replies that he is used to it. Cielo asks what he means by being honest, so he explains that it means expressing your true feelings. Ryvi gets an idea that Ver should propose to her again just like he did years ago under the orange tree. Ver wonders if it will work, while Amoru asks where they'll find a tree, and Akira suggests using oranges instead. Obor says the staff is also ready to help them. He gets emotional over their kindness. They split into pairs to gather items for the proposal. Yuger and Akira are together, but she refuses to help. Suddenly, Yoyami pulls him into a compartment and threatens to stab him. Yuger tells her to release him and Akira realizes that they were able to board the train because they wanted them to. She says Owl has been tracking them and that they'll be taken to the headquarters. Hakubo adds that they can't escape now. She approaches Akira, commenting that he is young and cute, and touches his face. Yuger steps in to stop her. Then she hugs Yuger, saying it has been a long time. Yoyami tells Hakubo to go home, saying she can handle them, but Yuger mocks her, calling her Owl's dog and then points her cannon at her. Annoyed, Hakubo tells them not to start a sister war and suggests a temporary truce while they are on the train. Yuger agrees and promises not to run if they leave him alone, adding she is tired of running. Wasting no time, he asks if they can tell him anything about Tawasa. Meanwhile, the others search the pantry. Amoru wonders if Akira found anything. Suddenly, they see Kasta coming here and she starts panicking. She bumps into her to distract her. Kasta asks if she has seen the twins, and Amoru points her in the opposite direction. She asks if they are causing trouble. Amoru nervously denies it and says they are not planning anything special for her and covers her mouth. Kasta apologizes and walks away, saying it is not about forgiveness. She explains that everyone told her that loving one person too much is dangerous and laughed at her during her Elsie with Ver, saying it would only hurt her. Elsewhere, Akira tells the twins everything he knows about Tawasa, including the message she left for him. He asks what she did and whether she is still alive. Hakubo says they don't know what happened to her, while Yoyami tells him to ask Yuger, as she was the last person to see Tawasa alive and knows anything about her. As the journey continues, Amoru notices Akira asking Yuger about Tawasa's whereabouts. Yuger says it is classified, but he tells her to stop doing that as he needs to know where she is or what happened to her because he's worried. He also takes out the earring he bought for her, which surprises her that he remembered their promise and asks if he can put it in her ear. She takes out the old one and he places it in her ear. She reveals that she promised Tawasa she might tell her that story someday. Seeing them talk, Amoru gets sad because she hates being ignored. Then Yuger notices that their bracelets, which Amoru bought for them, are of different colors that night. Ryu gives up on tying a ribbon around a bouquet, and the men laugh at her. She asks if he can give her mother something else. Yokarada and Akira encourage her, while Hakubo calls it a lovely tradition. Yokarada asks if he can date her, but Hakubo declines, saying he hasn't changed a bit. Akira is surprised that they know each other, then suddenly looks at Yuger, while Amoru watches him. When Kallo finishes drawing a family picture, he shows it to her and asks if his mother will like it. She smiles and says she will love it. Just then, Hakubo joins them and says they both have an artist's scent, though Amoru is confused what she means by that. She asks why her Yoyami and Yuger have the same face. Meanwhile, Yoyami is drunk in the bar carriage talking to the bartender about being left behind by Yuger. She recalls being created along with the other androids by Tawasa, who called them her daughters, and that when Tawasa disappeared, she only took Yuger with her. The bartender tells her to go to her room as she's already drunk, but she declines. Elsewhere, Casta sits alone with a sad expression. Suddenly, the lights go off and Ver walks in with everyone, trying to reenact his proposal. He asks to renew their vows and begs for another chance, saying he's afraid of losing her. She is still upset, but when Riv asks what's wrong, she smiles and thanks them. Rivuv and the others celebrate, thinking their plan worked. Ver gives her the bouquet, and she smiles. Suddenly, Setelo gets upset about his drawing while Akira and Yuger look at each other like a couple, which makes Amoru feel unhappy. She rushes to the bathroom, worrying that Akira and Yuger are falling in love, making her feel like an outsider. She wonders if the three of them even have a future together. Suddenly, she hears Casta crying near the sink. She wonders what happened and sees Kallo walk toward her. He shows her the drawing he made earlier, with her smiling, which makes her more emotional. Back on the coach, Raivi is glad her parents patched things up and Ver believes the oranges worked, but she calls him clueless and reveals Mother actually dislikes them. He is shocked that Casta lied, and she explains that Mother kept it a secret because it made him happy. Meanwhile, Silo asks his mother if she hates his father. She says she loves him and hugs her to hide her tears, then says she's going alone to her seat, leaving Kallo confused. Amoru approaches him and asks if he's okay. He thinks his mother cried because of his drawing, but she explains that she is sad because things are not working between his parents. He asks what will happen next, for which she has no answer. Later, while Raivu sleeps, Casta approaches Ver and says they need to talk. They move to another coach where she says she can't forgive him for cheating and for breaking their vows. She knows that he regrets it, but she will never trust him again. He says it's the first time he has heard her speak so firmly, and she replies that from now on she will handle everything herself, and informs him she is getting off at the next station. She also returns the earring, and he begins to cry, saying he loves her. She replies that she loves him too. Elsewhere, Amoru's sketchbook falls and a page opens showing a drawing of him and Yuger. He suddenly feels like a jerk for traveling with Yuger and Amoru without resolving his feelings about Tawasa. The next morning, Casta and the children get off at a platform. Everyone feels sad watching them leave. Amoru and Akira watch from the window. Amoru says leaving someone you care about is never easy. Cielo approaches and hands Amoru a sketch of her, saying she looks prettier when she smiles. She thanks him, calling it a wonderful gift. Just then, Hakubo arrives and tells them they'll meet again, which lifts their mood. As the train starts moving, Amoru tells him to keep drawing, and that she will see his progress when they meet again. He agrees and they wave goodbye. When the train reaches Omiya Station, Yoyama releases all the alcohol and is ready to confront Yuger. This city is also filled with war wreckage, and at an abandoned station, Yoyami challenges Yuger to a duel. Akira asks Hakubo if she will stop them, but she says she'll just watch them from the sidelines. She believes Yoyama has a valid reason to fight. Yoyami declares she'll arrest Yuger, but she tells her to try it and begins firing at her. Yuger runs and releases shock spheres. She manages to dodge her attacks and follow her. She calls Yuger clever while Yuger mocks her, saying she doesn't use her mind to fight. She creates a barrier around herself to block the spheres and destroys them, which gives Yuger time to activate her giant cannon and fires. But she easily dodges it and continues destroying the spheres. The others watch them from behind a barrier created by Hakubo. Yoyami claims she knows all her strategies, while Yuger calls her foolish for thinking so. As the fight gets more intense, Yokarada asks if they should stop them, but Hakubo says they won't stop until one is destroyed. Suddenly, Yoyami starts overpowering her, forcing her to run. Akira worries she might lose, but Hakubo notes the duel has just begun. They call each other names and Yoyama destroys her defenses, demanding surrender. But she calls her a dumbhead. Suddenly, her hidden spears trap Yoyami and electrocute her. Akira realizes she had been setting traps all along. As Yoyama falls to the ground, she points her gun at her, telling her to leave her and Tawasa alone, adding that she should move on. Yoyami recalls their past and says she just left with Tawasa without explaining anything, and quickly grabs her sword and cuts through Yuger's core, shocking everyone. Yuger collapses and she prepares to attack her. However, Akira rushes in and knocks her down, saving Yuger for the second time. But he's confused about what just happened. She says he disabled his limiter. He asks what she means and she explains it is an android's built-in feature. He notices his metallic structure beneath his skin, realizing he is also an android. Hakubo asks if he never noticed anything strange about himself, and suddenly, his memories rush back to him at once. His childhood, his time with Tawasa, and his accident. He realizes he died in the past. Yoyami asks Yuger if she knew about it and chose not to tell him. He asks Yuger the same, and she tries to explain, but he's heartbroken that after all their time together, she hid the truth. He says that he wanted to know her better and trusted her, and they were getting along as he recalls Amoru asking what he would do if someone he cares about lies to him. He tells her to stop talking and shuts himself down. After learning that he is an android, he begins to question his memories, thoughts and emotions, wondering why he has been searching for Tawasa. He starts to see his journey as pointless and struggles who he really is. Suddenly, Yuger appears and asks for a chance to explain everything, but he demands to know why she never told him the truth. She explains that she thought it would be easier for him to live without knowing his real identity. But he calls himself fake and says he has no reason to exist. Then she decides to use her abilities to show him a movie revealing what really happened to the world along with the truth about Tawasa and Akira. In the year 2038, Yuger gives a presentation about her Elsie project to her father and Akira. They ask how she plans to deal with humanity's fear that machines might one day overtake the world. She answers that she has carefully selected a team of 6 individuals who will work together to ensure that it never becomes a reality. However, during the public announcement of the Elsie project, some terrorists attack her on the stage. While protecting her, Akira is shot multiple times. Both are rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery and fortunately, they both survive. It takes Akira a month to fully recover, but due to the incident, Tawasa's uterus was damaged, preventing her from having children. Although she dreams of starting a family, she begins looking at different options, like creating an artificial uterus. But everything fails. She decides to leave Akira so that he can build a family with someone else. However, he refuses, saying that he loves only her and will never let her go. After that, she begins her android project, hoping to create her own artificial family. She works with the 6 luminaries she selected. They all work on creating artificial life, but fail on every step. In the year 2041, Akira becomes deeply involved in Tawasa's research. One evening, he kneels and proposes to her. She is happy but declines to marry him because she's unsure if her project will succeed. After investing so many resources, they still fail to create a stable connection between humans and machines. She worked day and night tirelessly to make it work. Finally, in 2045, they reached a breakthrough by creating nanochips infused with human blood, called femtoblood. When Akira is injected with it, he connects to the main network through his eyes. After this success, people begin lining up to receive it, and within a few years over 90% of the population gains enhanced abilities. Tawasa is happy that she can finally accept Akira's proposal. In the year 2047, one of the 6 luminaries, Dr. Ingmar, discovered a critical backdoor that allows infused humans to be hacked and controlled. However, he doesn't report it to Tawasa, as it would devastate her and decides to keep it a secret. But somehow, the information leaks and humans started misusing this technology, leading to widespread chaos as people lost control of themselves. The identity of the person who leaked it is still unknown. Seeing the destruction of the world by her invention, Tawasa becomes sad and decides to look for a solution. The government begins capturing criminals while protests rise against her. Experts from around the world rely on the Amaji Research Center for a cure. Tawasa works on the solution but fails repeatedly, unsure what more she can do. She records that she tried to separate the chips from the blood but cannot do it alone. When nothing works, she begins losing hope. A few years later, terrorists attack their facility, killing her father and leaving her badly injured. She blames herself for losing him. People begin calling her a witch, and she is worried that if she doesn't find a solution, Akira might also get hurt. She created a new AI named Alpha to solve the hacks, which goes rogue and suggests that it should control all the infused humans, declaring it will eliminate everyone who comes in its way. Soon, Alpha absorbs the world's AI systems, merging into a single entity, which leads to sudden nuclear attacks across the world. Every country begins attacking the other and killing thousands of living beings. Then, in the year 2051, Alpha attacks the internet and social media, now referring to itself as Terra, and declares that it is responsible for the nuclear attacks. It says that according to all the AIs it consumed, humanity is a threat to the world and should be destroyed. That's why it has begun purifying the world. Humans fight back but lose thousands of soldiers in the process. Tawasa is devastated that her invention is destroying the world. She doesn't know what to do and tries to take her own life. Just as she pulls the trigger, Akira stops her. She begs him to let her die, but he tells her that they have to save the world. She believes defeating Terra is impossible, and blames herself for the millions of people who have died. He says that they can't stop Terra without her, and they have to fight back. So with Akira's support and help from the 6 luminaries, she begins developing weapons to fight Terra. They create the Outside series androids. She gives them her face, calling them her children, the last hope of humanity. In November of the same year, she deployed 3 androids, Hakubo, Hitomo Shikoro and Tasugar. They begin fighting the machines. Soon, more androids are created. Seki, Ilai, Kuragata, Uzuka, Shunsho, Yuyami, and the top-tier units, Yoyami, Maime, and finally Yuger, who is based on Tawasa's personal assistant. These androids spread across the world to fight Terra and her machines. After 2 years of fighting, they finally eliminate Terra, and humanity wins the AI war. However, Earth is nearly destroyed and the population drops to 200 million. Tawasa states it will take a century for humanity to get back to the way it was before. She uses femtoblood to develop femtobugs to restore the environment, spreading them globally. Then, the organization called OWL is founded, headed by Tawasa and her research team, with Akira as its first leader. To prevent any new development of AI, they impose a worldwide ban and destruction of digital computers. Some people oppose them, but the Outsider series defeated them, allowing OWL to become more powerful than any other nation. When everything is under control, Tawasa disappears, leaving a message for Akira that her actions led to the catastrophe, and telling him not to look for her. He continues as the leader for over 20 years, until his health declines due to an illness. So he creates his own android whose main purpose is to find Tawasa. However, Akira never used it until it was accidentally activated 200 years later due to the earthquake. Yuger says she became interested in marriage after watching Tawasa for so long, but as time passed, she realized it was not possible for her. Until she learned about him, and the instant she saw him, she decided she wanted to marry him, even if he might never awaken. He says that they are illusions created by humans, but she replies that they are the new versions of Tawasa and Akira, capable of living the life they never had. Even if their memories are not their own, their emotions are real. She explains that she did not tell him about his true identity so he could live as his own person, rather than as a copy of his original self. She then tells him that she loves him. He calls her a fool but thanks her. Finally, Akira wakes up from his sleep and meets Yuger and a now adult Amoru. Amoru is sadly walking behind Yuger, carrying a sleeping Akira. No one knows when he's going to wake up. Yokurata asks her if she knew Akira was an android, and she replies that she found out when he shielded Yuger from a bullet. Inside an abandoned facility, Yuger connects herself to him to try reaching him in his sleep. She mentions that they can remain unconscious for months. Suddenly, Hakubo arrives and tells them that she has created a barrier around the building and will install more defenses soon. Yuger asks why she's doing it, to which she says she feels guilty for not being a proper elder sister. Yuger thanks her and asks if she can rely on her. She confirms it, after which she connects with him. Amoru asks how long it will take, and she replies she can't say. It could take a few days, months, or even years. So Amoru decides to stay and look after them. She brings clean water, washes their bodies, brushes their hair, and keeps the surroundings clean. She cooks meals and eats with them so she doesn't feel alone. Hakubo and Yokurata take turns bringing supplies. She passes the time by sketching and working on her picture book. We can see her growing older, suggesting that years have passed. Yet she never gives up and continues caring for them day by day in every season. Her drawing skills are improving over time. One day when she is out fetching water, she suddenly senses something wrong and rushes to the room to find Yuger awake. She happily hugs her and says she missed her. Soon Akira wakes up too, but he is confused to see a grown-up Amoru. That night, she prepares a feast for them, and Hakubo joins the celebration. Though Yuger says they just woke up and shouldn't eat yet, Akira starts eating, saying he's hungry. He says that eating makes him more alive, and as an android, he can eat more without getting sick. Yuger also takes a bite of the fried fish and likes it. Then a drunk Hakubo asks Akira how he plans to thank Amoru for caring for them. Yuger pulls her away, telling her not to drink too much. Then he thanks Amoru for being here for them. Yuger appreciates her patience for not losing hope for more than 7 years. He reveals that while he was sleeping, Yuger told her everything that happened and why he was created. She feels slightly jealous that they are always together and leaves to refill the water. In the kitchen, she admits she's feeling jealous of them. Elsewhere, Yoyama and Yukarata meet in an abandoned building discussing Yuger's whereabouts. He misguides her by saying he doesn't know where she is and wants to find her to achieve his goal. Back at the facility, Akira and Amoru walk by the lake. He asks why she spent so much time caring for them, 2 androids. She hugs him and confesses she loves him and Yuger. But he only has feelings for Yuger, which she already knows, and asks what's stopping him from loving her as well. He doesn't know how to respond, yet before he can say anything, she says they should head back and sadly walks away. When they return, Hakubo tells him that the original Akira is still alive at the Omaji House laboratory, working on extending his life. He decides to meet him so that he can move on, and Yuger says she will accompany him. Feeling left out, Amoru says she forgot something, and returns to the lake to process her feelings. There she meets Yokarata. He tells her that she can cry if it hurts. She says she thought once they woke up, they would travel together again and enjoy their time, but now things have changed, and they seem closer than before. She feels like a fool for loving them and wonders if being human is the reason she cannot be with them. He then reveals he has a solution. Meanwhile, Yuger and Akira worry that Amoru hasn't returned yet. They look at her drawings, noting that the world appears beautiful from her perspective. He says he could look at her paintings all day, and she wonders how she felt while she was drawing them. Among the drawings, she finds one of herself laughing alongside a painting of all 3 of them together. Back at the lake, she decides to accept Yokarata's plans. The next morning, she tells them she's leaving for a few days and that they should continue without her. Yuger draws her a map of Omaji's house, while Akira worries about her traveling alone. She assures that she'll be fine and leaves, saying she'll meet them soon. As they begin their journey, Yuger asks him if he likes Amoru, noting he was acting like her boyfriend, but he assures her that he's only here because of her and that his feelings are only for her. She suggests once Amoru joins them, they'll continue their journey together. Soon they arrive at the Owl headquarters. She explains that the town is surrounded by defensive walls, and they must pass through the main entrance to reach the Omaji house. She gives him a fake ID forged by Hakubo. As they move forward, he asks why there are no guards, but she points out that one is standing at the entrance. Meanwhile, Yokarata takes Amoru to an old laboratory used by the 6 luminaries, where he injects her with femto blood. She asks if this is the blood mentioned in her parents' book and if she's an android now, but he explains that they need a mechanical body to transfer her consciousness into. Then he asks why she wants to become an android, and she replies that she wants to stay with Akira and Yuger. He says that forcing them to love her is impossible, but she argues that she spent 7 years caring for them and deserves better. He tries to make her angrier, saying Yuger will always come in her way, and successfully hacks her mind. At the city entrance, Akira and Yuger meet Oboro, in a guard costume. Akira asks why he's here, and he reveals he's the director of Owl and was assigned by the original Akira to keep an eye on them. He says that Akira is his mentor, who instructed him not to interfere, and now he's here to escort them to him. Elsewhere, Yoyami waits for Yokarata in an abandoned building, but Amoru arrives instead, and gives her a note saying Yuger sent it, but then Amoru injects her with femto blood, and before passing out, she realizes that Amoru is hacked. While driving, Oboro explains that after the war, Tokyo developed uniquely, and that humans cannot resist uncovering hidden information. Meanwhile, Yokarata prepares to transfer Amoru's consciousness into Yoyami's body. Although Amoru is excited to become an android, Yoyami resists it. Hakubo appears and tells him to release them, revealing she tracked Yoyami's location. She deduces that he is actually Dr. Ingmar, one of Tawasa's 6 scientists, and asks about his plan. He replies that he wants to meet Tawasa. Meanwhile, Oboro reveals that Owl is searching for Tawasa on the orders of its AI administrator, Togitsu, who is Akira's personal assistant. Back at the lab, Yokarata confirms he has changed his identity just to see Tawasa again. Hakubo asks if he would sacrifice 2 lives for that. Suddenly, Yoyami beheads her, who now has Amoru's consciousness. Yokarata is happy that his plan worked and plans to hack Yuger to learn about Tawasa's location. Hakubo tries to stop him, but he lifts her head and calls her his daughter with Tawasa and says she can't stop him. But she won't let him hurt her sisters and regenerates to fight him. Elsewhere, Oboro drops Akira and Yuger and tells them to pass along his regards to his mentor before driving away. They walk towards Tawasa's home. Akira remarks that it feels familiar. Then they take an elevator to an underground laboratory which Yuger identifies as an Outsider series training facility. Just as they are about to move forward, Amoru appears behind them in Yoyami's body. Akira recognizes her and asks how this happened. She smiles that he recognized her and says she's now just like them, asking them to have Elsie with her. Akira asks why she is inside Yoyami's body. She says that Yokurata advised her to take a machine so she could stay with them forever. Yuger notices that her eyes are different. She approaches him and asks if he'll accept her now, but before he can say anything, she attacks him and takes out his core. She becomes happy holding his heart in his hand while he collapses and Yuger pushes her away. It appears that Amoru is struggling to remain in control, as her personality keeps shifting. When she attacks Yuger, Yoyami briefly takes control, though it doesn't last long before Amoru returns. Then, throughout the struggle, the personalities of Yoyami and Amoru shift seamlessly. While Amoru wants them to accept her, Yoyami wants revenge, believing Yuger always receives special treatment and wants to defeat her. At the same time, Hakubo fights Yokurata in the lab. He moves quickly and fires at her, but she regenerates, then calls him disgusting and releases a fog to blind him. He notes she can't use her weapons after regenerating and fires into the fog, but she creates illusions and asks why he is looking for Tawasa. He claims he wants to apologize, saying he feels guilty for discovering that femto blood can be hacked. She says he doesn't seem guilty, and that by hurting her family, he crossed the line. She also asks if he has feelings for Tawasa and charges at him, so he fires at her. And as the fog clears out, he finds himself trapped in a net, after which she electrocutes him, saying she won't let him harm her sisters. He takes his last breath, confessing his love for Tawasa. Meanwhile, Yuger continues fighting Yoyami, who follows her around and prepares to throw a large piece of metal pipe at her. But Yuger instantly fires her cannon and destroys it, and asks why she is so angry at her. She replies she is tired of everyone's biased behavior, saying Tawasa chose her, and Yoyami's core begins to overload. Yuger warns her, but she ignores it and breaks her shield. However, Yuger punches her into a wall, saying she is obsessed with Tawasa. When she wakes up from the rubble, Amoru takes control, accusing her of wanting to kill her so she can have Akira. She charges and throws her into a building. Suddenly, Yoyami takes over again and asks if she was ignored because she let Mei die. But Yuger responds that Mei died on a mission. It wasn't her fault. And in rage, they cut each other's arms. Amoru says she wants all three of them to live happily, reminding her that she waited 7 years. Yuger apologizes, saying she wants to marry him and calls Amoru her rival. However, Amoru says she also loves her and kisses her. But Yuger pushes her away, saying it cannot happen because marriage is a lifelong vow to only one person. Then Yoyami takes over and asks why everyone leaves her. First Tawasa, then her and now Hakubo before slamming her head against Yuger's. Yuger says why they keep saying things that hurt her, and they continue fighting while Yoyami's core keeps on overheating. They argue over their issues until Yuger strikes her with her sword, and says they are all selfish and refuse to listen to each other. She reveals that Tawasa didn't ask her to come. She begged to go with her and she ran away because she couldn't bear to see them suffer. She also says Tawasa loved all of them equally and remembered them every moment. Amoru calls her kind and says she is grateful to have fallen for her, before shutting down. Then she rushes to check on Akira, saying she won't let him die and pulls out her own core to save him. When he wakes up, he sees the damage and asks if she's okay, but she tells him she chose him and stops him from saying anything. She reveals she cannot save Amoru or Yoyami, because their merged consciousness overloaded the core. Suddenly, he notices her core has stopped working and tells her to disconnect it, saying they cannot get married if she dies. But she says it's okay. She looks at Yoyami's body and says she will always remember the time she spent with him. Before losing consciousness, he begins crying, believing she has died. Suddenly, Togitsu appears and tells him that if they hurry, she can still be saved and takes him to the Outsider series original pods. Togitsu instructs him to place her in a pod and wait until repairs are complete. He thanks Togitsu, who says he's glad to help and leads him to the original Akira in a life support pod. Togitsu tells him to make it quick, as his life support has been shut down to power the repair pod. He says this is wrong, but original Akira says it's their only option to save her, then asks what he wants to know. Akira replies he doesn't know where to begin, but old man Akira understands he wants to know why he was created. Surprised, he asks how he knew. The old man tells him to read his journal for answers, addressing him as his son. He reveals he created the HLC system, but android Akira asks why he changed the concept of marriage. The old man says that after the war, changes were necessary. Akira asks if it was because of Tawasa, so the old man says that it was the best way to reduce the burden of having children on her shoulders. Yuger wakes up and hears all this. The old man continues that whether it's marriage or Elsie, people need to take responsibility for their partners and ask who he will choose. He hesitates to answer, but the old man knows he is old-fashioned and asks which girl he loves more. Just then, Yuger comes out of the pod, saying Owl has been cruel in recent years, which the old man does not deny. Akira asks if she's okay, and she replies she has fully recovered. Thanking Tajitsu and the original Akira, she offers to restore his life support, but he declines, saying he has lived long enough and seeing them okay, he is satisfied. She angrily tells him not to put any strange ideas in android Akira's head, but he calls her rude, just like Amoru, and encourages them to support each other. She says he hasn't changed, while Akira says they lost Amoru. Then the old man says it's time. He thanks Tajitsu for caring for him, while Tajitsu and Akira thank him for creating them. He tells them to enjoy their life and travel the world. Then Yuger says she has one last message from Tawasa, that she loved him eternally. After which, the original Akira dies peacefully. As they leave, Hakubo collects Yoyami's remains. Then they go outside where Yuger apologizes for destroying her, but Hakubo says it wasn't her fault. While Akira asks if Yoyami can be restored, and she says her body can be rebuilt but her memories are gone. She also reveals that Amoru is alive, though recovery will take time due to the hacking side effects. Then we see Weir's village, where Idi's mother tells her children to deliver lunch to her father's workplace. Feeds and Calcrum discuss the new owl policies that will benefit their children. Meanwhile, Ajisai and Hanayama are arguing at their inn, and Seshet is selling books in the market, including the banned ones. At an owl base, Bear trains recruits while Kasta is happily knitting a jacket. Next, Hakubo introduces the reconstructed Yoyami to their sisters. Elsewhere, Akira and Yuger now live on the island where Amoru is still unconscious, and Tawasa's grave is located. Yuger reveals Tawasa died at the age of 82, and they both sit in front of her grave and pray. Akira says he wants to marry her, making her blush. He asks if Tawasa would approve, to which she says she would be happy. She recalls the promises she made to Tawasa, not to interfere with the world, to cherish her sisters and to introduce her lover someday. She stands up and says mission complete, then they both confess their love and kiss. She reveals her love for Amoru is just as deep, suggesting things may change when she wakes up. He also says he cares for Amoru. Yuger proposes a unique wedding involving all three of them. Eventually, Amoru awakens from her coma, and the three of them reunite emotionally. That's all for today. If you want the next part, comment next part. We'll make it once this video hits 10,000 likes. Also, tell us which character you like the most in the comments, and thanks for watching. You guys are the best.